Here we are again, and this time we'll be talking about the most important thing here under this course, or practically apply our skills or how to use Elastic Agent in .NET Core applications. Now, the knowledge that you're going to absorb through this session is applicable in the .NET framework as well, but all you have to do is just import another dependency and not the Elastic APM .NET Core all. If you listen to the previous session, I spoke about the technologies supported by Elasticsearch, and you will take a look there and see what .NET framework is supported if you want to use the regular .NET framework. And by typing in Elastic APM, for example, under NuGet, this is basically what for example, package you will include there. In our case, for the .NET Core console application, I'm involving the elastic.apm.net core all library, and that's quite enough to showcase, or it has everything that we need to showcase the example which I'm going to use. Now, keep in mind that once you come to understand this topic, the subject, this will become inevitable for your product success, for your software application success, because this will give you so much insights, or the application performance monitoring will give you so much information about the software that you're building, that it will help you increase quality up to 100%, because it will discover everything and all errors for you. Now, the sample which I'm going to use is a little bit simple, but rather simple actually, but I will just show the concepts, and then I cannot even wait for you to email me or to send me a message telling me how you've implemented your knowledge of whatever you absorbed throughout this course in your software development projects. So, as I said, I will not teach you how to create a project here, but open up your Visual Studio and go to New Project, and then select a console project from your left side, or if it's not available under the templates, just search for it, console up, it will pop up like that, and just hit next, give it a name, and then you will receive, if it's a .NET Core application, keep in mind that it will be blank with a console right line, and the rest is missing. So what I've done in this case is I have written the namespace, which I've named the same as the project name right here, and then oops, there we go, so that's the structure of the project, and then public class program, and then within the public class program I have included the main function. Alright, so let's keep it simple. This is on the Visual Studio site, and as long as you've installed Elasticsearch and Elastic Agent by typing in this URL address, localhost 5 at 5601 port, you should get to this welcome home page. Now, the feature that we're going to observe here is the APM, okay? And keep in mind that some services are paid, some are not. So I will discuss only about APM, or application programming performance monitoring here, and all of these, for example, services, available features. But keep in mind that some of this functionality is accessible through, for example, the overview, the dashboard, and so on and so on. So you can create dashboards, but some of the services are still paid. But that's quite enough. The application programming monitoring is a bundled, for example, feature in most of the products which I mentioned at the beginning of the course, and are paid. Elastic actually is giving us this service for free, and that's quite enough for software development, for developing a complex features and setups. Okay, so this is what you should have as long as it works. Sometimes when you click on services, you will not be able to see the services, but it will tell you that APM server is not being set up. All you have to do is just follow what's under the view page right here, and just follow it, and there is a very simple guidance on how to set up the APM. If you're unable to do it, feel free to text me, or feel free to sort of do a little research on your own on Google, on the Elastic Web site, to see how the APM server is set up. It's very easy, but again, if you experience any issues, just get back to me on this. Now, as you can see, there are no services. There is no application running on my site, or .NET application running on my site. So let's go back to the Visual Studio and discuss again about some aspects of the Elastic agent. So what it is really? Well, this library, which we have included right here under this project, actually has the functionality, or bridges the access between your .NET Core application and the Elastic search and Elastic agent and the APM functionality right here. So by using functionalities from this library right here, embedded in your features and methods and classes and whatsoever, we'll be sending information here on this APM application performance monitoring section for us to take a look, and so that we can prepare our software application for quality or performance monitoring. So for that purpose, let me start with two classes. I have two simple classes for you. Person, one is called person, and the other one is called transactions. Okay, so this one I'll just put here, public class transactions. Okay, and there is nothing, pretty much there will be bare bones, so I will try to mimic some functionality just to showcase the Elastic agent integration, and then once you get the idea, you can bring a lot more robustness and complexity to your software applications, and you can just monitor them through the APM functionality from Elastic dashboard. Okay, so in the public class person, I would have four methods. So one public, for example, this one is going to be async task, and this one will return task, and I call it insert. Okay, so imagine now that we're doing some insertion into a database, right? And then the second one is going to be, I call it, let's call it update, right? Let's do some CRUD operations right here. But this one I will do static. Okay, and then another one which will serve the purpose to delete information, right? Delete, and then let's just pass in some person ID, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, all right, and then the fourth one will just be named sort of get persons, let's say get persons. Okay, and there we go, some functionality we set. This one I'll still make static. Okay, and this one I'll keep it just like that, so that I can call an instance of the object person and then call the method. All right, so that you can see all variants. I will mimic some sort of for example, some sort of let's say computing right here, or some operations. Okay, and besides that, I will just write, for example, console write line and all persons returned. Okay, and then I will just return task completed, right? Task completed task. Okay, all right, that's quite enough here, and I will just copy and paste this functionality to delete. So person with ID, for example. All right, $sign with ID deleted. you get my idea right here, guys. And there we go, person. All right, I added an extra O here, so that's quite enough for the delete. No, actually, you know what? Let's throw an intentional exception here. All right. So let's call it intentional exception. So sort of to mimic an exception, am I right? So, and then let's go back to update and say await again, task maybe some operations, whatever, and let's just say console right line. There we go. And let's say what do we say here? Person ID updated, right? Okay, sounds reasonable. ID, person ID updated. Okay, so let's keep it like that, simple, stupid, just to be able to explain the functionality. And what do we do here? I'd like to, all right, let's return, of course, a task, completed task, return it, right? So there we go. And then on the insert side, insert person, right? Simple as that. Then return task, completed task. Now, all right, so nothing fancy right here. And let's prepare the, okay, so nothing really, totally nothing fancy under the person class object so far. But of course this will change, and I'll show you how we send information directly from the method through the Elastic agent to the dashboard APM system. But that's going to be in a little bit. So there is a reason I called this class transactions. I mean, you can really call it anything you want, but Elastic Agent call pretty much uses this sort of terminology called transactions. So span transactions, start transactions, capture transactions. So that's why I kept it in correlation with their functionality. But how do we use it anyway? So I will have let's say I will have a method here, public async task of a type task. So I'm returning a task here, which will say start transaction, okay? And then I will have some information in it. Then I will have another method. I will explain why I call this start a transaction and why it's important to have it first. So I will have another public task, for example, and this one I'm going to call task. You see, I'm using a little bit different coding structure right here. There is a reason for that, and I will call this capture transaction. I just want to showcase you different scenarios of how you may use the code, but whatever you use on your site is probably going to be okay anyway. And then another one which I'm going to call public, for example, task. I'm going to return a task again, all right? And then delete the section. All right, so now I'd like to point out something. The start transaction and capture transactions have basically will serve the bridge and functionality of getting information from the